Good morning. Good morning. Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Friday, TGIF, Friday, July 26th. And we are here to close out the week of new releases being released into the wild this week. And it is Freeform Friday, so we just look at whatever the heck I want to look at. Good morning, Kim. You're awake. Now, if you fall asleep, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Hope you had a good night. I slept pretty good, but I think I'm still in deficit. I certainly could have slept some more. And I'm noticing I get up at 5 to get ready for work and all that jazz, and it's kind of darkish still again in the morning, that early in the morning. I have to turn on lights. Like, oh, yep, we're getting fall's coming. Makes me happy. I like fall. I know it's a long way away, but it's coming. Quick announcements. Friday night, I don't do sprints on Friday nights. We'll have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Those go for 5 hours. I do them 3 times a week. I do them every Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and on that Saturday afternoon. Oh, turning them on soon. Does that mean the opening ceremonies are about to start? They're what, 7 or 8 hours ahead? Good morning, Mary. Happy Friday, TGIF. I love fall, my favorite time of the year. Me too. It's we're getting closer. Mary, you weren't on the sprints last night, which is okay. Don't worry about that. That's not what this is about. This is about you didn't get a chance. This is the last time I'm going to show it. To see the shawl that I was working on that I sent off to a fellow booktuber. So that's how it turned out. Okay. Something like that, 7 or 8. Yeah. Okay, let's jump in. Ever since they started allowing professionals in the game, I've lost interest in the Olympics. Me too. Me too. It's just not in the spirit of Olympics, but it's turned into not just athleticism and pride in working hard. It's turned into money. So, as usual. Okay, let me go into. All right, let's start with this one. Since it's the first one there, let's start with the first one. We're radicals. Murder in the Marginalia. We didn't get to this one on Monday, I think, by Julie Ecker. A mansion, a cat, a mystery, and a murder to solve. This is first in Aunt Alice's Bookshop Mysteries. Haunted by a personal tragedy, Nell Murray arrives in Pepper Lake, hoping to turn the page on a new, brighter chapter in her life. She has inherited her aunt's mansion. They always have that. An antique bookselling business. And Aunt Alice's beautiful lakeside home is more than just a house. It's a legacy filled with secret passages, old diaries, and cryptic book-related riddles. Surrounded by old books, accompanied by her aunt's cat, Gatsby, and supplied with plenty of coffee from the Buttered Scone Bakery down the road. She better not be complaining, man. Nell starts her next chapter with new friends and the hope of a freshly written happy ending, but Nell's newfound peace is shattered when a member of the Antiquarians, a close-knit group of elderly booksellers and friends of her aunt, turns up dead with a poisoned scone in hand. As the plot thickens and the bodies begin to pile up, Nell discovers that her aunt's legacy has more plot twists than the old mansion's bookshelves, and someone would kill to keep those secrets off the front page. A perfect story. This one might have been a romance, not necessarily leftover, but didn't know quite what category to put it in. I watched gymnastics, diving, and swimming. Those are the good ones. Running just makes me feel inferior. Mary the Shell. Oh, thank you. I like the color and you have really mastered crochet. Beautiful. Well done. She should be very excited to get it. I hope so. Hope it keeps her warm. Thank you. Another person who loves orange. Mary, what would these books do if they didn't have rich aunts, leave mansions and businesses, characters, etc.? Exactly. Or in love stories, losing jobs and breaking up with fiancés. And storms in thrillers. What would they do without storms? That required coffee. Perfect Story by Elizabeth Benevent. Margot Ortega always struggled to be the princess in her own fairy tale, a successful career, a huge salary, a gorgeous apartment, and a perfect fiance. But on her wedding day, she suffers a major panic attack and has to call it off. Devastated and ashamed, Margot decides to drown her sufferings in a mad night of alcohol and dancing, because that solves everything. The next day, she goes back to the sleazy club to retrieve her sister's cell phone and has a crazy encounter with David Sanchez, the handsome, fun-loving bartender, who persuades her to pretend to be his new girlfriend in order to make his ex jealous. David recognizes the sadness in her eyes, and together they can. A guy recognized sadness in eyes, and together they conspire to help each other to get their exes back. Little do they know how much fun they'll have and how much they'll complicate their lives. A trip to Greece together that Margot sees as a much needed getaway, she's just not making great choices right now, creates an unexpected connection and depth of intimacy between two people who belong to two totally different worlds. What starts as a simple escape for fun and adventure becomes complicated and devastating when the depth of their feelings pulls the two lovers in different directions and forces them to make a life-altering decision. This next one is interesting. It's kind of nonfiction, but I think it was also because it has stories. Let's see. Fall of Civilization, Stories of Greatness and Decline by Paul Cooper. Oh, my knee was in the wrong position. Based on the podcast with over 100 million downloads, Fall of Civilizations brilliantly explores how a range of ancient societies rose to power and sophistication and how they tipped over in collapse. Across the centuries, we journey from the great empires of Mesopotamia to those of Khmer and starts with a B in Asia and Songhai in West Africa, from Byzantium to the Maya, Inca, and Aztecs of Central America, from Roman Britain to Rapa Nui. With meticulous research, breathtaking insight, and dazzling empathic storytelling, historian and novelist Paul Cooper evokes the majesty and jeopardy of these ancient civilizations and asks what it might have felt like for a person alive at the time to witness the end of their world. Or being a pretend fiance, exactly. Fleeing France, a World War II novel of sacrifice and rescue in the French ambulance service by Alan Hladd. Driving in an ambulance in France after the fall of Dunkirk, an American nightclub singer races to evacuate a British pilot and a Jewish orphan across more than 4,000 miles towards a precarious freedom, etc. France, 1939. A talented singer, Ruth Lacroix, has left Maine to live with her aunt and uncle, dreaming of performing at the Casino de Paris. But with the outbreak of war and the heartbreaking news that her cousin has been killed by German forces, that goal is supplanted by another, to support France in any way she can. Though Ruth has never driven a vehicle larger than the tractor on her parents' farm, she joins a friend in enlisting as a driver for the French Ambulance Corps. On their way to transfer injured soldiers to Dunkirk for evacuation, they encounter Jimmy, a British Royal Air Force pilot with number 73 Squadron RAF, who the northern coast. Word spreads of a daring Allied plan to rescue the remaining troops and civilians from ports in western France, codename Operation Ariel. Over 2 hazardous weeks, Ruth and Jimmy will journey hundreds of miles together, helping other refugees as they rush to reach the sea before they are overtaken by the German army. But all their courage and resilience offer no certainty in wartime when a single stroke of luck or a split-second decision can mean the difference between life and death. Timely. I was thinking that, Mary. I didn't say it out loud, but I was totally thinking that. Kind of what we're going through right now, but we won't fall. Just change. It just feels like falling. Yeah. We are living in very interesting times. Nicked by M.T. Anderson. The year is 1087. I'm intrigued already. And a pox is sweeping through the Italian city of Bari. When a lowly monk is visited by Saint Nicholas in his dreams, he interprets the vision as a call to serve the sick. But his superiors and the power brokers they serve have different plans for the tender-hearted brother Nicephorus. Nicephorus. Tried. Enter Tayun, a charismatic treasure hunter renowned for liberating holy relics from their tombs. The 700-year-old bones of St. Nicholas are rumored to weep a mysterious liquid that can heal the sick, Tayun says. For the humble price of a small fortune, he will steal the bones and deliver them to Bari, curing the plague and restoring glory to the fallen city. And Nicephorus, I'm going to say Nicephorus, the dreamer, will be his guide. What follows is a heist for the ages, as Nicephorus is swept away on strange tides and alongside even stranger bedfellows to commit sacrilegious theft. Based on real historical accounts, Nicked is a swashbuckling saga, medieval novel noir, a meditation on the miraculous, and a monastic meet-cute filled with wide-eyed wonder at the world that awaits beyond our own borders. I'm intrigued. I will read the first few paragraphs and see how it goes. You know I like historicals, so I like nonfiction sometimes. Yeah, it has to be interesting. The Modern Fairies by Claire Pollard. Why don't they tell you it is the beautiful princess who becomes the evil queen, that they are just the same person at different points in their story? Don't tell that secret. At a safe distance from the intrigues of courtly life at Louis XIV's Versailles, an intellectual crowd of mostly women have been gathering in a Parisian home to share what hostess Marie D'Aulnoy herself has christened contes de fées, fairy tales. That one I'm just faking. Recently ousted from court and still raw from the death of his beloved wife, Charles Perrault finds companionship and creative camaraderie at the salon, where he eagerly joins the storytellers. Their hostess is impressive, fiercely intelligent, but somehow unreadable. She is harboring secrets of her own, sold off as a child in marriage to a brutal baron, imprisonment, scandal. Despite the vicious Versailles gossip, Marie has mysteriously been allowed to return to polite society and establish her salon in the heart of Paris. A devastating winter soon sweeps in, bringing with it all kinds of rumors and fears. A spate of poisonings at Versailles has led to several arrests, and no matter how highborn the suspect, it seems no one is safe. Paranoia stokes the king's insecurities, and there is a wolf among the salon's members, someone more dangerous than any force they could conjure in their own tales, watching and waiting, reporting on the secret goings-on, and threatening to destroy them one by one. That is also interesting. Two to check out. Different for a change. Indeed, different. How did that get by? A Hunger to Kill, a serial killer, a determined detective, and the quest for a confession that changed a small town forever. This is nonfiction by Kim Mager and Lisa Pulitzer. That's a convenient last name. In this fascinating and profoundly chilling account, Detective Kim Mager, a real life version of Clarice Starling, reveals how she closed in on and broke one of Ohio's most infamous serial killers. On September 13th, 2016, in the small town of Ashland, Ohio, emergency dispatchers received a 911 call from a terrified woman who claimed to be kidnapped. The man holding her hostage was Sean Great, a serial killer whom the press later dubbed the Lady Killer. A key to his conviction and death sentence were Great's extensive recorded confessions, all extracted by one woman, Detective Kim Mager. As an experienced specialist in sex offenses, Detective Mager was one of the officers assigned to Great's case upon his arrest. Great immediately latched on to her, repeatedly demanding to speak to her and presumably convinced that he could somehow exercise his power over her in much the same way that he overpowered and controlled his female victims. He was wrong. Over a period of 8 days, Mager conducted one interview after another, risking her life by sitting alone in the interview room with a malevolent predator. She wasn't risking her life. There was people watching through the glass. Using brilliant psychological strategy and a lethal game of wits, Mager successfully elicited his damning confessions to 5 murders, kidnapping, and multiple sexual assaults of women across Ohio. That might be interesting. You got to be in a Criminal Minds mood, though, to read that one. The Very Long, Very Strange Life of Isaac Dahl by Bart Yates. Each day is a story, whether or not that story makes any damn sense or is worth telling to anyone else. At the age of 96, Isaac Dahl sits down to write his memoir. For Isaac, an accomplished journalist and historian, finding the right words to convey events is never a problem. But this book will be different from anything he has written before. Focusing on 12 different days, each encapsulated in a chapter, Isaac hopes to distill the very essence of his life. There are days that begin like any other, only to morph through twists of fate. An avalanche strikes Bingham, Utah, and 8-year-old Isaac and his twin sister Agnes survive when they are trapped in an upside-down bathtub. Other days stand apart in history, including a day in 1942 when Isaac, stationed on the USS Houston in the Java Sea as a rookie correspondent, confronts the full horror of war. And there are days spent simply with his lifelong friend Bo or with Danny, the younger man whose love transforms Isaac's later years, precious days with significance that grows clear only in hindsight. From the Oklahoma Dust Bowl to a Mississippi school at the apex of the civil rights movement, Isaac tells his story with insight, wisdom, and emotional depth. And apparently still has clarity of mind at that age. That's fabulous. That's what we all hope for. I already had that on my TBR. Oh, the true crime one? Cool. Yep. When they're good, they're good. Nonfiction. Autocracy Inc. The Dictators Who Want to Run the World by Anne Applebaum. We think we know what an autocratic state looks like. There is an all-powerful leader at the top. He controls the police threaten the people with violence, there are evil collaborators, and maybe some brave dissidents. But in the 21st century, that bears little resemblance to reality. Nowadays, autocracies are underpinned not by one dictator, but by sophisticated networks composed of kleptocratic financial structures, surveillance technologies, and professional propagandists, all of which operate across multiple regimes, from China to Russia to Iran. Corrupt companies in one country do business with corrupt companies in another. The police in one country can arm and train the police in another, and propagandists share resources and themes, pounding home the same messages about the weakness of democracy and the evil of America. International condemnation and economic sanctions cannot move the autocrats. Even popular opposition movements from Venezuela to Hong Kong to Moscow don't stand a chance. The members of Autocracy Inc. aren't linked by a unifying ideology like communism, but rather a common desire for power, wealth, and impunity. In this urgent treatise, which evokes George Kennan's essay calling for containment of the Soviet Union, Anne Applebaum calls for the democracies to fundamentally reorient their policies to fight a new kind of threat. Indeed. But the first step is waking people up to it, and that is difficult. Another timely book, yes. That's kind of why I'm including some of these. Chasing Embers by Glenn Beck and Michaela G. Hedrick. In a new world won by Topos Inc., the United States of America only exists as a fading memory. On the path to utopia, the pillars of culture, religion, art, history, and science have been decimated. The past is dead, and Topos killed it. 16-year-old Ember remembers the day her parents were taken by Topos 7 years ago. The only possession she has from them is a leather notebook containing the history of the world, contraband that could send her straight to sleep camp. When Ember is selected to serve on Topos' task force to reduce underage extremism, she has one chance to start a new life, but it may cost her everything. 17-year-old Sky has run away to a town of savage holdouts who refuse to live under the rule of Topos. And is that in Montana? And who might be able to tell him if his whole life has been a lie. As the holdouts slowly but surely win Sky over, he must decide what true really means, and if the truth even matters in a world ruled by an absolute power. As they carry their secrets, Ember and Sky become unintended accomplices to a secret society plotting to overthrow Topos. And when they find themselves on the wrong side of the most powerful corporation on Earth, they have two options: beat them or join them. And we are running out of time, so we're just going to look at the covers of the last ones. Trouble Comes in Threes by Denise Grover Swank. Eighth in the Rose Gardner Investigations. I like that cover. Bad River, sixth in the Arliss Cutter series by Mark Cameron. Liars, a novel by Sarah Manguso. And the last one is another nonfiction. Fear Itself, Exposing the Left's Mind-Killing Agenda by Tammy Bruce, who is a journalist. She's a former liberal activist and Fox News contributor. All right, that's all we have time for today. I figured that we look at about 75 books each week, give or take. So hopefully there's definitely things that I'm interested in checking out further throughout the week. Thanks so much. Hope you and Kim have a great weekend. I have a show. Oh, I was going to ask on Saturday, so I have to pack the car, etc. today. Busy but excited as always. Good luck on the show. Oof. And hopefully it is inside, maybe. Is it cool? All right. So again, I don't have any sprints tonight. I don't do them on Friday evenings. I do have them tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and that's the marathon ones. They go for 5 hours. Next week, we'll look at the new releases being set into the wild next week. I personally like Tammy Bruce. Yeah, it's very interesting. Today, I have like 4, maybe 5 I'm interested in. Yes, Inside. Thank goodness. Oh, good, good, good. If I don't see you, please have a good weekend. Otherwise, hope you're reading good books. It's okay to set them aside if they are not hitting the right spot at that moment. Kim says, have a great day. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the Olympics. And I'll see you again soon. As the banner says here, it says the wrong thing. Next one down. There we go. Don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day and God bless.